baby. Everything is bright and alive. Give you all my loving.
Me again, Rollers, here back with Electronic, here with two powerhouses in Manchester. Let these guys introduce themselves, I'm going to take it from there.
I'm Propz, G13 Records.
Rowney, G13 Records.
Otherwise, no, Propz, Rowney. Right, we're going to kick it off like this, yeah, with your name, yeah, because I said straight away, yeah, Propz and Rowney. So let the people know, yeah, what is the actual term for your name there? Is it Rowney or is it Rowney?
To me, it's Rowney. It's what we've been called like for 20 odd years. So.
Yeah, when I first met him, I got beaten into pronounce it as Rowney. I did say Rowney to start off with.
So it stemmed from you then, is it?
I think a lot of like people down south or people that don't know him just assume it is Rowney.
It's the only thing, innit? Like, Rowney's like some Manchester twang, innit?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So let's take it to where you guys actually met and, you know,
I'm originally from Southampton. I moved to Manchester 8 years ago. After about 3 years, it wasn't really moving for me in the music scene, so I've always been into like jump up party drum and bass, right. And it seemed like there wasn't a fitting in for me. And then I met Rowney just on an off chance.
Was that more of the music scene at the time, or was
I think it was more of the music scene at the time. Plus, people didn't really know me. I think I just kind of expected to come up, and because I was in a city moving from a small village, that I thought I was going to get straight into it and it was going to happen, but obviously I worked out it doesn't happen. Yeah, that's it. So I literally went to a rave in Preston, Decibel, met Rowney through a guy called Red Eye from Manchester, and literally from then we just sort of we've been into the same music. He was producing, I liked his stuff.
Was you producing before that? Or
I'd had a little dabble in it, but I hadn't really. I'd made a couple of tunes with mates, but nothing really.
And what year was that? When we were talking there?
2007, 6 or 7.
Right. So what about you? Where did it start for you? We'll start with DJing first. Where did you start DJing?
I started DJing when I was like 15. Like everyone's into hardcore back in the day, so I just got into it through that. I'm not proud of it, and I do get admit for it, but that's where it started off.
Yeah.
And I was just chilling with mates and like I used to chill with other people, you know what I mean? So there's always a drum and bass and that, I checked it out. So the DJ Rapper, the DJ Hype set from Hell the Skelter, tunes like Chopper and, you know what I mean, Turban and stuff like that, just changed it straight away.
Is that when you just knew that you had to be part of that scene?
Yeah, man.
Everything is bright and alive.
So let's talk a bit about the equipment, the production, hardware, software that you guys use. Let's start with the software. What software are you guys using?
I was on Fruit Loops for about 6 years, but now I'm on Logic. I'm loving it.
Crossed over to a Mac, what was it, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit longer than that?
No, but
Not looked back since.
not even 2 yet.
I was one of the people that was like, I'm never going to touch a Mac on PC, man, and then as soon as I got one I was just like, what have I been saying?
I was getting someone to get off like Fruit Loops for about 2 years before I did it. Everyone was on my case saying do it, you know what I mean?
Well, you see, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, like moving it.
It's kind of weird that, you know, when you talk about DAWs, because a lot of people look at DAWs and think, certain ones, it looks certain ways, so I ain't messing with that. But, you know, there's a lot of people like Benga, for instance, uses Fruit Loops for his reducing things, like N-Type as well, uses Reason, you know what I mean? So I think it's the overall product rather than the actual software
itself. A lot of the dubstep started using Fruit Loops and just carried on with that and progressed with it.
Knowledge
in drum and bass,
like
dubstep's more stripped down, a lot of drum and bass is quite technical, so you need a lot going on with the engine to it, you know what I mean, it needs to be quite capable of it.
Needs to be a powerful source.
Yeah, when you're running like 5 or 6 massives, you can slow a computer down if I haven't got enough memory or even processor power. So
it's all about Macs anyway.
Yeah, I think having Macs. I mean, there's a lot of powerful PCs out there, but I don't even want to get onto the PC Mac debate.
I used PCs for years and I'll never go back, never.
Same, since I was like 5 years old I've been using PCs, and now I don't think I'd even, feels dirty to touch one.
So let's talk a bit more about the music side of things rather than the production side. Tell us about your first track and why you decided to put out your own label, which is kind of like a double barrel question really, because that's where G13 supposed started as well.
I've been producing since best part 8-9 years now, like taking it seriously. But I didn't really have a clue what I was doing. I didn't know what the mix down was until about 4 years ago. So I was making music, but didn't really have no structure to it. I was just making music, nothing else. Like production, like Ed Bush once said, like making a tune is like 25% of making an actual tune. Like the mix down and all the engineering is like 75% of the tune. It's true, you know what I mean. You can have a sick tune, but if the mix down is not cutting it, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's not doing it.
Which is bad, really.
It's a shame because it should just be about the music, but to be a producer, you've got to be the whole package these days.
Yeah, it's not good enough just to produce the music.
And when you're getting signed as well, labels don't allow to like shoot you know what I mean? They just want to have the finished product there, which is a bit crap. It means you've got to like work for it, but that's how it is these days. People just want the finished article so you can just push it straight away. Now I've got the time. I mean, I do spend quite a bit of time helping producers out, like via AIM and stuff like that, but no one does it for me, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Is that more like a take it on the chin sort of thing, get on with it because you know that's what you got to do?
Yeah, that's always our attitude about it, really. Like,
because not like you said, no one's going to do it for you.
There's no point in beating around the bush. That was mainly part of the reason why I started G13, or the idea of G13, and then asked Rowney to help me come on board right from the beginning, because together we had good ideas, and like there's no one really putting the jump up scene, or I don't like to class it as just jump up, it's drum and bass, but no one's putting the current drum and bass scene mainstream for Manchester on the map in the rest of the country.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, like artists don't get booked up, not many artists get booked up here with the mainstream artists. I mean, you get your Andy C's, your Pendulums, do you know what I mean, Sub-Focuses, they're the mainstream artists, they get played on radio, but then there are the rave, drum and bass is an underground music.
Yeah, always has been.
Yeah, and like the underground artists seem to get forgotten about. I don't know if it's down to money or what, but it's one of those things. And with the label, I just wanted to put like that sound for Manchester on the map for the rest of the country.
So speaking from an artist perspective and from label perspective, do you think it's more of you've got a lot more control over your own tracks for one, but do you think it's a lot harder to promote your track because of that, that slight emphasis on biasness, if you will? You with me? So even though it's your track and it's on your label, it seems like not put people off, but where people say, well, that's kind of obvious because everybody's more or less doing it these days. Everyone can just set up a label and put a track out.
We were doing it before a lot of people were doing it though. I mean, like, since the digital revolution's really happened over the last 2 years, that's when everyone's realised, I can put my music out on MP3. We're not just putting MP3s out, we are putting vinyl out as well, so there's got to be a strong quality control there. You've got to make sure that your tunes are getting supported by certain artists.
Yeah, true.
I mean, our tunes have been getting supported from, not just our tunes, but tunes on the label have been getting supported off Logan D, Andy C, Nicky Blackmarket, Fantasy, all the big rollers in the drum and bass game, and it's a weird thing, like trying to get your music, because we don't just release our own music on G13, we release other artists as well. And that's where we started it really well. To be honest, one of Rowney's first tunes was the first tune on the label, Death Rattle, and it did really, really well. And a lot of people were surprised because like the distribution were like, we're not too sure if this is going to be a strong enough tune, and then they actually said to us we had like a mini hit with it. So it was a really good look for the label, and it kind of set the pace for where we're going to take the label. And
did you set that in originally? Was that the original goal for for that track, or was it something that you thought we'll put it out and let's see how it how people
when I first heard it, I was like, yeah, that's gold straight away. The guy Toby from New Urban who runs the distribution, he's like the Simon Cowell of the drum and bass scene, and you've got to have something really good to impress him, and it took me quite a bit of like, come on, we're dedicated to it to get the label started and everything. So it was good that he put the trust into us, because if it wasn't for him.
So tell us a bit about G13 and its roster.
Got quite a big roster.
Is it G13 strictly jump up as well?
No. We've released like jungle, dance floor sort of stuff as well on the digital side of things. But with the label, with the vinyl, we just release music that we know is dance floor madness, stuff that people love, that just gets a reaction on the dance floor, that gets people moving.
Yeah, it gets people buzzing.
Yeah, it's club music. You're not going to hear it on the radio on a Saturday afternoon while you're drinking tea and eating crumpets. It's club music, that is what it is. That's what we set to put out.
So that leads us on to Unity FM, where we are today. Tell us a bit about the show.
I'll let you talk about that.
Basically, showcasing new music, whether it's like music that's just come out, music like by new producers, or just big tunes that we like, you know what I mean? If we like it, we'll play it. Don't matter what it is.
I suppose that's the best thing about having your own label as well, is that you can put out the things that you want to put out, you know, the things like you were saying before, you just were hearing the tracks that you wanted to be hearing, and you thought, I can be doing this.
That's what I mean, even now there are some tunes that we put out which not everyone's feeling, but we feel it represents a label, so we'll do that, you know what I mean? But
as long as you put 100% in every track, you care what genre it is.
That's it. I mean, like, people tarnish us just with a jump up brush, but with like Rowney's production and the production that we've done together, we have made like dance floor tunes, liquid tunes.
Well, that tune is One Love.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's a totally different, you know what I mean, sort of like vibe from what I was not expecting, but probably what other people expecting.
Yeah, like that dance floor, like.
we did, like first we did Hold Me, which like, that got remixed by Heist, but that was like the first dance floor tune done. Then we done a remix to that real tune as well, like What If one.
So I've seen the live show as well online, so tell people about the live show.
Yeah, well, like we've always been, even though we are DJs, we've always been MC. Like we love MCs. Like I grew up in the London rave scene, so every weekend I was going out to Bagley's, the Lighthouse, the Rex, Sanctuary, and they're massively MC fueled nights. Like you don't have a set where there's no MC on there, and I was quite shocked to see when I come up to Manchester there was really only Tom Piper, and then later MCs, and then later got to learn about, like, I didn't realise that Trigger was from Manchester to start off with when I first moved up here.
Right.
And like we work with Trigger now. We've been working with him for 3 years now, and yeah, he's a good guy. We do a live radio show with him most Wednesdays, like every other Wednesday he makes it down when he can. Yeah, he's a great guy, and it works really well. Like,
but you've got him on quite a few new tunes as well, I've seen.
Yeah, we've done like a remix of Fly Girl for him.
He just does his little vocals, we'll get in the studio and see what's cracking with it. I mean, we like doing it anyway because it's an honour to do it, like, but we want to do a big tune with it as well, you know what I mean? We've had like quite a few plays on the ones we've done, like we've got one coming out on G13 next with him, and like MC Unknown, who's sort of MC. Just, I don't know, just not really MC tracks, he does tracks with MCs on, just sort of have them on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you've got to break up, you can only really have the vocal on the intro of a drum and bass track, especially when you're working with MCs, because that's how it's become now. Before it was just about the DJs, and there was a point where it was like, oh, the MCs were getting the spotlight, and now it's joined together. You have collectives like Shadow Demon and New Breed, all those sort of drum and bass crews where there is like a DJ or two DJs and a collective of MCs. It's becoming more of a live element to it now.
Which is where it was, and where it's, you know, it kind of like split where it came, I was saying before, it was just the DJ, you know, the DJ and the MC, and then the MC became the focal point, and now it's like a balance of them both.
Yeah, because it's gonna, like, I've always noticed that drum and bass and the jungle scene always does a massive circle. It goes round, like at one point they were working together, then it split up, and now it's come back together again. It's just like how before it was just drum and bass. It wasn't, oh, he plays jump up, he plays liquid, he plays tech. It was just drum and bass. And now you're seeing that again more. it's split up and now everyone's gone, well hang on a minute, it's just drum and bass.
Give you all my loving. Tell me what you need.
Right, so tell us a bit about what we can expect from G13 in the future.
We're going to be looking at doing some tour nights this year. We've joined up with Hanger from Leeds, which was an event in Leeds, to bring back Sabotage. We did that 2 years ago. Didn't really have the funding to keep it up anymore, and we were running it on a Thursday night, so it wasn't the best result really being on a Thursday. We did an event 2 weeks ago, and by 12:30 it was full, which was a massive result. And yeah, Sabotage are back, wait for number 5, which is the 30th of March.
So, can you tell us a bit more about the actual nights that you've got? Sort of like the.
Well, I'd bring something to Manchester that no one's done before. Like, not just say, yeah, we've done it, but just educate people, because there's a lot going on. And Manchester don't really know about much of it because there's not really a spotlight on like the rest of the country. Manchester's got its own little bubble, it's doing really well. Like the Manchester music scene at the moment's doing really well, but as far as drum and bass is concerned, they don't really watch what's going on in the main picture, you know what I mean?
Like we do get forgetting out about like when people are doing lineups. It's like just from being not around London or the centre of the country, you just seem to get forgotten about. So we just want it so people know that Manchester's here. They know that there's a drum and bass scene up here and that things are moving. It's not too far.
We do get a lot of artists from out there, from London as well, DJing up here most weekends as well. So they definitely know.
It's more like well-known ones like Nicky and people like that, though, like who establish themselves as far as the up-and-comers go. You know what I mean? It all depends on money as well, you know what I mean? It's like, you've got to get people in through the door and stuff like that, and if they're not going to come to a night where they don't know about people, so it's a bit of a gamble, you know what I mean? So we're trying to like mix headliners with new artists so we can get them to see them.
It's just bringing lineups that Manchester's never seen before, like Golf back to back with Origin, that was like quite a good hit. Jaydan's been to Manchester before, who we had on the Sabotage the other week, but Golf back to back with Origin, that's never been done in Manchester before. And
is that the angle that you're focusing on now more?
Yeah, just bringing the new age, the new era of drum and bass scene up to Manchester and let them have their spotlight up there. And because people are crying for it. We go out and DJ around Manchester and people are like, oh, play this golf tune, play this Mackie G tune, and it's like, if they're asking for the tunes, they're obviously asking for the producer to come up here or the DJ to come up here and do their stuff.
So that leads on to an album. When are you guys going to come up with the album?
I don't know, man. I've not really thought about it. I mean, I've got my EP coming out like next week. That's basically just 6 of my best tracks from the last year. Got a few different vibes on that, you know what I mean? But as far as an album goes, everyone seems to be doing an album now. It's just like
you're jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, and tunes get forgotten too quick anyway. So I'd rather just put little singles here and there and take the time.
EPs, I think, like if you are doing that pure rave music where it's like it's hectic, and if you're doing 15 to however many tracks, an album worth of tracks, it can be quite
monotonous.
Yeah, it can be too much. So I think it's just better when you're doing the sort of music that we do, just release EPs and singles, and they seem to have more focus on them than what an album has. I mean, you see albums come and go, and that is literally what happens, and it's an unfortunate thing.
If I did an album, it had to be like loads of different like genres. It just, you know what I mean, like hip hop, R&B, kind of like grime, kind of, you know what I mean, just all over the board, just choke and do different stuff. It wouldn't be one sound. But to be honest, I'm just doing drum and bass at the moment anyway, so that's all I'm concentrating on. So album's not really been my thoughts.
Well, whatever you guys are doing, you know what I mean, just keep it up, man, because you're killing it at the moment. You know, with big respect to you guys, you know what I mean.
Having good fun as well. Like playing over, we've got a residency over in Belgium. A promotions company called City Flow. Big ups to Carlos and Frank each and every time. How many times did we play over there last year? 5 times or something like that. We've already got 4 dates for this year. So it's pretty good. Played in Austria a few weeks ago as well. That was massive. Big up to all the Switch crew, Landora and Coda.
The lineups there getting over, like when they first got us over, it was a big lineup. but the line was just getting bigger and bigger and more diverse. Like you've got us, Lensman, like Heist, who else was on? Alex Perez. Like jump up and like
minimal.
Yeah, they're just mixing it.
Liquid all together.
We played with, on the last one, we played with D-Bridge, Pleasure, Hybrid Minds. Yeah, there was just a massive jump up, dance floor, minimal.
It's good for
It was good, yeah, you don't get that anywhere. And everyone was like, we were in the back area, everyone was talking, everyone was drinking. Everyone would just be like this in a drum and bass singing. If you put that on, everyone would be in their own little groups.
Yeah,
the thing is out there though, it's like, oh, we're in here, we've got our own little set crews, you know what I mean? You got your jump up heads, you got your tech heads, and all that. It's new to them out there, so you can put the whole lot together. Like back in the 90s, you know what I mean, where it was all one, like Helter Skelter used to have.
But it's all fresh though, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what it is like for them. So,
yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Make the most when you go, because it's nice to see.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Run it!
Electron TV.